do you know what's the number one thing that ruins relationships? No matter how good relationships you have, good or bad, it's expectations. What comes to my mind is I remember I went to this restaurant. It was like a buffet style, and it was Mediterranean restaurant. It was really good food. I love that place. So, and the weather was nice, so I was sitting outside. And as I'm enjoying my lunch, I look up and there is this old lady, and she's smoking. She is taking a break because I've seen her inside working. And I thought to myself, you know, um, we all have different things happen in our lives, and gosh, I wish I will not be in that kind of position like she is. I hope when I am her age, I have plenty of money in my pocket that I don't have to work. And, I kind of felt very righteous and I thought to myself, hey, I'm doing pretty good. I'm just going to enjoy my lunch. Well, I finished my lunch and they went to use the ladies' room. And as I was coming out on the wall, there was, few pictures over there, but I noticed there was this framed article from a local newspaper talking about how amazing this restaurant is. And there was a whole story about the immigrant family that came 20 years ago or 30 years ago from another country. And they established this restaurant. And who do you think I saw in that picture? Yes, exactly. That lady that was smoking. I was so ashamed of myself. I was like, oh my gosh, how dare I to assume that she is that kind of position because she doesn't have money. That's why she needs to go work. How dare I? I tell you, after that, I am looking in a lot of people very different eyes. But should I have been too ashamed of myself? This is really conditioning that I learned, obviously. And how is that we deal about things like that? We judge and assume about people that new to us. You could be meeting a new employee or coworker or neighbor or anyone that you went and you met, and you immediately assume like, okay, this is how tall they are. This means they work out, they don't, they have the kids, they don't have. This is probably the education. Oh, okay, I've seen the whatever something that they wearing. You're already judging, how much money make, they make money and all of those things that we already create a story about the person that we think this is how they are. And when that person acts very differently than we expected them to be, this is stressing us out. So what it does to us is like, first, we want to make sure that we are safe. This really comes from the wanting to control the situation and control other people because that helps us to feel like we're in control and we're safe by really projecting what we already made in our mind. Why is this important? If you grew up in the environment where you not be able to control your environment, and most of the time kids cannot control the environment, especially when they're young and dealing with adults in their life. But let's say there was somebody in your household like they were, struggling with addiction, and every single day it was you had no idea what's going to happen. Like for example, my dad was alcoholic. I was coming back home and I had no idea what's going to happen. He's going to be very drunk. That means he's going to go to bed and fall asleep right away, or he's going to be okay. I had no idea. So naturally, I will want to control my situation and I will project things ahead. So just think about how many times did you meet a new person and you thought, hey, this is going to be my friend, and then turn out to be, well, actually an enemy. Or opposite, you met someone and you think, you know what, I don't really like them. And later on, you find out, oh my God, that person is so cool. I don't know why I was thinking about them that way. So we do project those things into on the other people because we want to feel safe naturally, and we assume way too fast about things and circumstances. So if you assume the wrong way, then what's going to happen? You will put yourself in a very stressful situation because they probably not going to match your vision. And this works not only about the new people, it also works the same way with the people that you already have in your life. especially the closest ones to you. Your family members, your siblings, your neighbors, your significant others, your kids, the teachers, the co-workers, the employees, all of this. Because we already know that person, or we think we know the person, I think truly we cannot know the other person truly because we don't even know ourselves truly. And most of the time, because, well, people change. We do grow. And our motivation changes, our level of learning something changes. So it's very difficult to assume that how things will be like they always were, even if you live with that person for 10, 20 years. And what happens when you assume things with expectations of those other people? That is really ruining any relationship. Because if you assume that, well, because you are giving something to someone, let's say your money, your talents, your time, your attention, you'll assume that they will be giving you the same thing. You will expect that from them. And when you will not be getting that, you will get disappointed. And that could be very stressful in a relationship because you will build resentment towards them because you will say, they're not doing what I expected them to do. Worst thing, if you are not telling them about something that's bothering you. So let's say the way you react to stressful situation, you think, well, we need to sit down, we need to talk about that. But then you expect that the other person will start the conversation. Or another example, let's say you are the person who just loves physical touch. Well, the other person does not like physical touch. But since you don't know that, you assuming that the other person also likes physical touch. So when you're giving them affection, maybe they don't really want to. Then you feel like you're being pushed away and you feel, oh my gosh, there's something's wrong with me. They don't love me the way I am. And that is just triggers all sorts of problems from your childhood. Also, I've seen it a lot of times other people do, and I did myself. When I want to have attention and affection, I will not tell them that, hey, we may be different. How about if we'll just communicate and see what they want? And here you go. Maybe we can find some common ground. Oh, no, 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 no. I will assume that I have to show them. So I'm going to show them. I'm going to give them attention. And then I will assume that they got the point, and then I will expect that they will return the favor. Well, that didn't go well, obviously, because nobody's going to read my mind. And especially if I am already being very affectionate towards someone and this is not their love language, they don't even want to go there. That is there's no way that they will actually think that's what I want. Just exactly the same way as I assumed that they want the same thing as I want, they thinking the same thing. Do you see how communication is extremely important? Extremely important. So we need to let go of assuming about people, what they're capable of. We need to stop assuming that other people can read our minds. We need to stop assuming that somebody will behave the way we want them to behave, or worse, when we tell them what they need to behave. Really, at the end of the day, you cannot control anyone. Well, you can say, well, of course I can control my kids. No, they allow you to be controlled because they need to survive. So they will do whatever you want them to, some kids, because the wound is so deep that they really need to survive. And that's why kids get through a lot of abuse because they have nowhere else to go. And that kid will grow up into being an adult that also cannot go anywhere because they're just kind of stuck in that child mentality that is totally helpless. And that's a very different episode that we should talk about that. So I'm inviting you now to think about all of those things that you have right now in your life, especially stresses in the relationships, and maybe, obviously you're not happy with that. And think what is really was the real cause of the situation. And maybe you can say, oh, they did this. And then ask yourself, I wonder why did they behave that way? What is behind that behavior? Did you communicate yourself? I mean, did you communicate with them clearly? Did you express yourself clearly? or you just really projecting of what do you expect them to do, of your assumptions. This is how the relationship should go, and I'm assuming that when they said this they meant that, when I really didn't ask for that. I didn't ask for clarification, but I'm just going to assume that that's what they mean. I mean, this conversation is just like going into the forest and having more trees, because I can talk about that for hours. But just start there. Find the relationship that you're probably stressing about and ask what is truly behind that, and where are your assumptions and expectations. And then start managing that. And how will we manage that? Well, number one, do not use any words that say, oh, always or never. It's very hard to be always or never. On a lot of things, hard. So you can start recording what's happening with that person that you have a conflict or stressing about or worry about them. And then start to see some patterns. But remember, this is such a variable that constantly changing, because we all are growing. We all becoming some new person, the same as you. You are a different person than you were a week ago, because you continuously experience in your life. So naturally, you change as well. But it helps to have some patterns. But overall, you just need to communicate with the other person. And if you cannot communicate with that person, then you need to go to a therapist, a couples therapy, or whatever it is, and find some common ground where you actually can have a conversation. That's probably another video that I need to make about that. And what you can say, well, it's easy for you to say that there's no way I'm going to go and talk with my boss about it. What did you mean about that? And then what you do, you prepare for the worst. You prepare your plan B and C and D. What are your action steps is going to be if this conflict, this stressful situation will continuously going? And what will you do if the communication will never happen and your expectations and assumptions will not come true? What are you going to do then? Because when you prepare yourself ahead, this is how you manage your stress. This is how you manage your worry. On top of not assuming what other people will do, how they feel about you, what action they're going to take, because all of that is just pure projection. And again, you doing this to protect yourself. This very, very survivalist point of view. And if you need clarity, if you need to find out where you're not maybe communicating right, and let go of your old habits and creating new habits, I'm here to help you. Go to my website, beamazingyou.com, and book a session with me. And of course, in the description below, there's a link to buy my books and sign up for my membership, because I'm giving away the Calm process, the whole class. It's about an hour long with the worksheets and videos, specifically where in detail I explain how to go over my Calm process that helps you to manage your stress, and no matter what kind of situation it is. Could be a short one that just appeared right now, or maybe a situation that you're already dealing in for months.